around, we will make sure that we are everywhere. We will vote, the vote will count, and those who think they will not count it, will count them. So, we will make it work.
I expect Tinubu to throw in the towel. If he is that smart politician, you know me, I say the truth. If he is that smart, everything is there for him that he's going to lose 2027. If he is that smart, because everything is there. Tinubu's time has come. It has been proven that APC is a lie. Buhari did not develop Nigeria. Buhari did not provide security. Buhari did not fight corruption. Neither will Tinubu ever do this.
All right. I hope you could identify those two people there. That was Peter Obi. The first clip, the first person was Peter Obi, the presidential candidate, former presidential candidate of Labour Party 2020 during the 2023 election. And that was his running mate. Second person, Dati Baba Ahmed, my favorite northern politician. I love that guy with passion. I've always loved that. I got attracted to him during the Obasanjo regime when he was at the House of Rep. When he was in the House of Representative, he was a honorable member of the House of Representative. Then he was a dogged fighter, a very someone that have been at the neck, at the throat of, or rather in the throat of corrupt politicians. He's been a very strong advocate against corruption. So, and reckless spending in government. So, he's someone I respect so much. I love him with passion. And I consider him as my best politician in Nigeria, in the North. I see him as someone who is sincere and genuine. He's been on this path, he's been consistent in his pattern. And that is how you know who is genuine and sincere. But that Baba Ahmed has been very consistent in his pattern, in his lifestyle, political or otherwise. So, but I disagree with him on this. And again, before I go further, in 2023, honestly, I saw him and Peter Obi as the best candidate Nigeria has ever presented. In reality, factually, they were the best couple, best president and vice presidential candidates. My God, these two people, they have a lot in common. They are both intelligent. They are both successful businessmen. They have the same ideology to make Nigeria better. They have the same administrative ideology. They have a lot of things in common. So they were actually the best we've ever produced. Unfortunately, Nigeria, just like what I said in my previous topic, Nigerians are not, I don't know, the system does not recognize merit, does not appreciate merit. We just go with the highest bidder. We just go with personalities. We just go with connection. Unfortunately, that is the saddest news in this whole debacle. That is a bad sentiment. They didn't succeed. Anyway, that's not the purpose of this topic. Now, let me go back to the substance, what both of them talked about. That Baba Ahmed, respectfully, I am surprised this is coming from you, that you believe. I doubt if you really believe what you said. Respectfully, I respect you so much. I don't think you believe what you just said. Because if you do, let me remind you. I don't know you, and I think that Baba Ahmed, you and I, we should be age mate or so. I think we should be within either senior to him or my age mate, mid-50s. So you are not a baby anymore. So you've seen Nigeria, you've known Nigeria through these years. I don't know. Was there any time in the history of Nigeria when there were no actually proofs, ample proofs and evidence that the current government then, the existing government then, was going to lose an election? Of course, there was never a time. All the successive government, all the successive election, we've always had that proof. From Shagari time to, is it Shagari? Yes, Shagari's time to Obasanjo's second term to Obasanjo's time as a democratically elected leader, to Goodluck Jonathan, Yaradua to Goodluck Jonathan, to Buhari, to now this monster we call Bola Tinubu. We've always had that sign. The government of the day will always see the sign. The government was did not perform. People got more impoverished. Things were not working. The economy became whatever. So there were all the evidences were littered all over the place. That if it were a sane society, such government will never ever win re-election or win people, or their appointed, their anointed candidates ever win election. Unfortunately, Nigeria is not that kind of sane society. Nigeria is a society where people get to power, get to political relevance and success, not by merit, but by who you know and who you are and what you have, not on virtues. So, respectfully, Dati Baba Ahmed, what you just said is the reality, is the truth, but that it is true that the whole thing are there, the evidences are there that Tinubu will not win election. It's evidential. It's everywhere. It's overwhelming. We have overwhelming reason for Tinubu to lose. But Dati Baba Ahmed, you and I know that that's not going to play out in 2027 election. It has never played out in any Nigeria's election. It was even worse. It was even worse during the 2023 election that ushered in this corrupt. That election didn't usher, but Tinubu bulldozed himself to power. And so that is just the reality. We've always had this same scenario over the years, for decades now. We've had this same scenario. Bad governance, bad economy, yet the person wins the re-election. And in the case of term limit, the person's anointed candidate wins the election, even though the person's administration, the president's administration did extremely poorly. That is just the reality. So, but let me go to Peter Obi, what he said. Again, the same issue. These two people are, when it comes to in their respective lines of endeavor, they are successful, they are smart people, because it takes smart people to be where the smart man to be where they are today. Intelligent, they are brilliant, they are wise. There's no doubt about that. They are hardworking. They have all that. Both of them. Peter Obi is a billionaire. That Baba Ahmed, I consider him as a billionaire too, because someone running this kind of business, that business should be running into billions, especially with Nigerian currency today. Of course, both of them are billionaires. So they are successful. But I find it hard to believe that they actually believe what they said, or what they are saying, that 2027 election will be marred with credibility and transparency. Of course, not. I don't think they believe that. I do not. And besides what Peter Obi said, that people will vote and votes will be counted because they will make sure that the votes are counted. And again, he said that everywhere, people will be everywhere to protect the vote, all the votes. And I asked Peter Obi, was this what you just say, what Peter Obi just said, was it not the same thing that was what was actually done in 2023 election? 2023 election was an unprecedented election in positively. Prior to the election, it was a positive. There was this overwhelming trust from nowhere, sudden trust, an overwhelming trust from nowhere, confidence in the system, that the system will perform, will do the right thing. And Mahmoud Yakubu actually manipulated us. He deliberately did that to attract credibility to the election. He deceived us. So we've never had that confidence and credit, apart from, okay, during the, what's his name? Abiola's time, Moshood Abiola's time. 1992, during the SDP NRC era. Apart from that, the other time we've had this unprecedented experience was in 2023, where we had confidence in the election. And what happened? Huh? The government of the day fell our hands. They fell our hands, as Nigerians will say. We all know what happened. Peter Obi, we all know people were there. People volunteered. Nigerians volunteered. The Obedients, they volunteered. They were at the polling stations. They all vote. They did not only vote, they were there and insisted that the votes be counted. And in many cases, the votes were actually counted. But what happened? Everything changed in the transition process. In the transmission process, whether transition or transmission, whatever, both of them mean the same thing. Everything changed. Results changed during the transmission process between the polling station and the INEC. So one should remind Peter Obi, probably he's been down with dementia, that he has forgotten that what exactly he said, what he said that they would make sure it happens in 2023, 2027, actually happened in 2023. Yet, Bola Tinubu bulldozed his way. That is where I have issues with Peter Obi. Now, but to be fair, what's his name? Dati Baba Ahmed was his running mate. I bet you, if Dati Baba Ahmed was the presidential candidate, Dati Baba Ahmed, because he tried fighting actually. I remember after that election, he tried fighting, but Peter Obi was not giving him the right vibes. Peter Obi was not exuding the right energy. Peter Obi was not encouraging him, because Dati Baba Ahmed really tried to fight it, but Peter Obi was not flowing in line. Dati Baba Ahmed has that fighting spirit. This is one thing, that is why I passionately love him so much and consider him as my best northern candidate. But Dati Baba Ahmed, if he had been the presidential candidate, he would have fought, because Dati Baba has been a fighter. He attracted my attention when he was at the House of Rep. And he attracted my attention because he was a fighter then. He fought. It was because of his fight. He fought to the extent, okay, later became a senator. Because of his fight, he was fighting the powers that be. He was fighting the establishment. He was fighting the corrupt politicians in the system. He was fighting the system itself. And that was why he lost being re-elected to the Senate. And since then, he never fought, he never stopped fighting. He never reneged in his fighting. He's been the same. He's been very consistent in his political ideology and philosophy. So honestly, if he had been in the shoes of Peter Obi, if you were the presidential candidate, I bet you Nigeria will not be, Nigeria and Nigerians will not be where we are today. That Obama would have fought the president of the day, government of the day of this Tinubu to a stupor. He wouldn't, I believe he would not, wouldn't have be trusted or believed in the judiciary to actually deliver the judgment in our favor. He would have fought because he started it. Because then he was all over the news, all over the media, was watching, was fighting, and even daring the president, even using some words that some people consider that was dangerous to the establishment, to the extent that they could even pick him up to incarcerate him. But Peter Obi wasn't giving the right vibes. He myopically, foolishly, cowardly, weakly chose to be technically quiet about it. Yes, he was criticizing government here and there, but what did he do? Did he fight? One thing is to criticize, another thing is to fight. He's still criticizing, just preaching the gospel we've been hearing for years, that some of us have been preaching. Whatever, he's still doing the same thing. Whatever I was saying, whatever, quoting statistics and data that has not taken us anywhere and will never take us anywhere. What will take us somewhere is the fighting people who are ready to, sacrificial people who will stand in the gap for us. Don't come and tell me, why don't I start it myself? Why don't I do it myself? Peter Obi and I are not on the same league. I am down here. Peter Obi is up here. He's an icon globally and locally. We're no match, not even close. But trust me, honestly, with the fiber, all the nerves in my body, in all sincerity, for people who know me closely, they know what I can do. If I were into Peter Obi's shoes, I would take bullets for a good cause. If I can dare to take bullets for my wife, I can take bullets for a good cause. And so that is it. So don't come at me that way. I am holding Peter Obi responsible for what Nigeria and Nigerians are facing today, because he refused to fight. And that Baba Ahmed that was ready to fight, he refused to back him up, to encourage him. So the both of them, I respect that Baba. Even the Peter Obi, I respect him. My criticism of him, my detest of him is not him. It's not about him. It's about the vice in him, the weakness in him. So, like I said, I don't hate people, honestly. Even the Bola Tinubu that I detest today, I don't hate his person. I just hate that evil in him. If as much as I hate Bola Tinubu, I detest him. Honestly, if Bola Tinubu begins to do the right thing today, turn a new leaf, I'm telling you, with the same energy I used to criticize him, I will use to commend him and encourage him. And the same thing applies to Peter Obi. I supported Peter Obi with passion, with everything that I've got. Especially when he paired with Daddy Baba, because two of them have basically the same traits. They are from two different regions, two different religions, two different backgrounds, but have the same traits. May not be 100%, but substantially the same, basically and substantially the same traits. So I loved both of them and their candidacy. But today, respectfully, I disagree with both of them, especially Peter Obi. Peter Obi has more brunt, bears more brunt from me than Dati Baba. Dati Baba Ahmed, I think he tried. I saw the energy. He tried to do the right thing, but the support was not there. So both of them are wrong here. Everything they said were all the indices they quoted, all the indices they are projecting are the same indices that were there prior to the 2023 election. Those same indices are present today, and they are still using that as a basis to give themselves hope that they will oust Bola Tinubu, they will dethrone Bola Tinubu from presidency. It's not true. Except something supernatural happens. Bola Tinubu, I hate to say this, unfortunately, will walk over every opposition because this is a simple and common sense thought. Common sense. Bola Tinubu did what he did and he bulldozed himself, imposed himself on us. Just with money, he used his money to do that when he was outside power. How much more can he do that now that he has even much more money plus all the power, all the paraphernalia of power? The security power is there. The administrative power is there. The commanding power is there. He controls the entire institutions of government. If he could control INEC while outside power, how much more can he do that? While the commander-in-chief of INEC and all the Nigerian institutions. That is it. That is my thoughts.